One question I get asked a lot is, where do I find motivation? And I've shared this many times before, but I think that motivation is kind of BS because you don't just like find motivation. We're all just like out there hoping that motivation will strike us so that we can get stuff done. But most of the time motivation doesn't show up. Most of the time you have to rely on yourself to get things done. And I think what I have found that's really interesting about productivity is that like little tiny tweaks can make all of the difference between a productive day and a not productive day. So today I want to share with you just some really little tweaks that when I make them to my day make me a lot more productive. All right, number one on my list is to give yourself 5 minutes to plan your day every day. I like to say this as your planning time to plan, which seems a little bit like repetitive, and it really goes off that quote of like, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And I think it's really true. I find that giving myself just 3 to 5 minutes in the morning to sort of plan my day really makes a huge difference to the productivity of that day. And then I'm not just sort of like aimlessly checking things off my to-do list without like any real rhyme or reason. So I sit down with a brain dump every morning. Basically, I just look at the list of all the things I said I need to get accomplished, and then I schedule out the most important ones into that day. And essentially just gives you like a plan of action, kind of like a little roadmap of where to go in your day. Number 3 is meal planning. Meal planning has become hugely important to me, to making sure that I have just like a more productive day, because I don't want to have to get stuck in the middle of the day saying, oh shoot, what am I cooking for dinner? And then realizing I don't have the ingredients for that dinner, and now I have to go out to the grocery store, and now I'm wasting time that I could be doing, with something else. I meal plan, and I really stick to this meal plan because it honestly just makes my week so much easier when I don't have to take away from my day to worry about what I'm gonna be making for dinner. Every single Sunday I sit down, I write down everything that we are having for dinner that week. I write out my full grocery list. I do my full online order and like get it scheduled for pickup on Monday morning. I write the meals up on our calendar, and I'm just ready to go. I don't have to take away from the rest of my day to worry about that step of dinner. And one question I get pretty much every single time I tell you guys that I meal plan is, well, what do you do when that dinner comes and you don't want that dinner for that night? The answer is I just suck it up and I eat it. First of all, I'm not writing anything on my list, this food like I hate. I didn't write like mush, a bowl of mush. And part of the reason I could be so like frank and strict about it is because I know from experience when I'm not in the mood to eat something that's on my list, typically that ends in a lot of food waste because that meal doesn't end up getting cooked, or even if it does, maybe one of the produce items goes bad and now, I've wasted the spinach that was supposed to go with it, and I just find that it's not worth it. My best tips for successful meal planning come down to having buckets. So when I'm meal planning, I'm always looking at 2 to 3 meals that are like our go-to meals. The second bucket is usually 1 to 2 meals that are new. These are meals that I really want to try. Lately, I've been finding lots of meal recipes on Instagram, just to keep it from getting boring and like getting stuck in a rut, because that can be a reason that people don't always stick with their meal planning. And then number 3, I always have a couple of meals depending on what my week looks like that are the easy meals. These are things that are going to take me less than 15 minutes to prep. I look at my schedule when I'm scheduling what days we're eating what, and I would schedule these into my busier days. Like an example would be this last week, I was leaving for a couple of nights, and so I was sort of prepping for being gone, and I was wanting there to be easy meals for the kids to have, for my husband to cook. We actually ended up doing an order from Cook Unity, who is sponsoring today's video. So Cook Unity is the first chef-to-consumer platform and delivers prepared meals right to your door every week. They are made by talented chefs that cook delicious, innovative meals every single day in regional micro kitchens, not in some big factory. You can search through their website when you're ready to order. They have 7 different dietary preferences that you can use to pick your own meals. And then the meals come fully cooked, so all you have to do is warm them up. It is a total time saver. Now, if you're worried about reheated food and wondering how it tastes, I can tell you that everything we've had has been so freaking delicious. Even my husband, who typically hates reheated food, has gobbled up every single Cook Unity meal we have ever had, and told me how much he liked them. The subscription is also really flexible. You can pause, skip weeks, or cancel at any time. Lots of times I'll combine 2 of the meals if I'm making dinner for my husband and I, and then we get to split it and each try a little bit of both. So on this night I did truffle mac and cheese with this hot honey chicken, and it was so tasty. If you want to try out Cook Unity for yourself, go to cookunity.com or just click the link in my description, but make sure you use the code ButFirstCoffee50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals to try it out for yourself. All right, number 2 is to wear some AirPods. Obviously it doesn't have to be AirPods. This is just what I own. Actually, to be honest, I don't even love my AirPods because I find them sort of uncomfortable. This is beside the point. I just mean have some type of Bluetooth headphone of some kind that you can listen to. This is specifically for achieving those sort of mindless tasks. This is things like putting away the laundry, doing the dishes, tidying up the living room. And the reason that this works is because when you're doing a kind of mindless task, it's really easy to get distracted because what you're doing is kind of boring. So you pick up your phone, now you're scrolling your phone, or you get distracted by something, now you're reading the pages of the book that you are putting away or whatever. So by putting on music or a podcast to listen to, it sort of gives your brain something to do, and it really helps to combat distraction and procrastination in the task that you're trying to complete. And there's actually some science here too. Science has shown when people listen to music while they work, they tend to be in better moods, produce fewer mistakes, and work more efficiently. Specifically for those mindless tasks where it's really easy to wander or get distracted, listening to music or a podcast will keep your brain sort of on the task at hand. All right, next on my list is brain dumping and time blocking. Now, I talked earlier about making time to plan, but in order for using that time successfully, it's sort of well, how, when I have that time to plan, how do I plan successfully so that I use it properly? Now, like I said, I shared my whole process for conquering my to-do list and other videos that I'll link below, but the process of brain dumping and then block scheduling has been really huge to my productivity. This is essentially what I do in that 5 minutes of planning that I give myself in the morning. Basically just allows me to word vomit everything that's in my brain onto a piece of paper, and then time blocking allows me to bucket those into categories and block out times to do each one. So having even just a general outline of a block schedule eliminates that what do I do next and how long do I do it for issue. It removes that step of wondering where to start and what to do. Having a daily routine helps ensure that the minutes don't get away from me, and it helps to avoid me just sort of wasting my time. All right, the final one on my list is one I have preached before to you guys, but it is to go to bed at the same time every night and to wake up at the same time every morning. Now, the big reason I love having a bedtime and a wake up time that are consistent is because your body has something called the circadian rhythm. This is a 24-hour cycle your body goes through naturally. It does it whether you want it to or not. It goes through different psychological and biological things in a 24-hour cycle. It's why we get tired at the end of the day, and your body produces different hormones in the morning because it's waking you up for the day. And it's really hard for the circadian rhythm to do its thing when you are falling asleep at different times every single night and you are waking up at different times every single morning. One of the biggest benefits I have found to going to bed at the same time and then waking up at the same time is that I sleep way better at night because my body is naturally primed to go to bed at 10:15. So my body is able to use that circadian rhythm. It's able to produce melatonin as it gets closer to 10:15. That is the time that it goes to bed. And so I'm able to have a far more successful and restful sleep. And I also find that because I wake up at the same exact time every day, my internal clock is ready to wake up at that time. And lots of times my body will wake up 5 minutes before my alarm goes off because it is just ready to wake up at that time. By giving yourself a general schedule like that you're following, it's just a lot easier to plan your time, to be consistent. You can have a morning routine that you follow every single morning. It just sets you up for better success. You're gonna sleep better, you're gonna wake up easier, you're gonna be able to have better habits and routines, and all of that overall just ends up leading to a far more productive day. All right, my friends, that does it for this video. Those are just some little tips and tricks that I use to be much more productive. Little tweaks, nothing, I don't think, none of those were super crazy, but they make a huge difference in my day. They make me far more productive and just have more success to my day without sitting around waiting for motivation to strike, which certainly does not happen every single day. As always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope this video helped you out a little bit. Remember to be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you all in my next video.